Here are the top 5 most expensive properties that have sold in some of our favorite neighborhoods in Chicago this year. The 5 most expensive properties that sold in River North so far in 2023 are this Kinsey Park townhome, which was listed for $1.7 million and ended up trading for $1.53 million. You know, it's pretty modest, but I think people are eventually paying for being, on the river, and you get views of water, which you can only really get on the lake or here by the river. The 4th most expensive is this condo in River North that had 85 days on the market. It was listed for $1.6 million and ended up getting $1.65 million, 2,300 square feet for a 3.3, $1.6 million. The 3rd most expensive property is this home that was listed for $1.85 million and eventually sold for just about $1.74 million. 4 beds, 3 baths, 4,100 square feet. It looks to be new construction. Elevator opens right into it. It's objectively gorgeous. Some private rooftop space there. The 2nd most expensive property was listed for $1.85 million and eventually sold for $1.8 million. 4 beds, 3.5 baths, 3,000 square feet. It is obviously redone in the recent past. It's kind of got those whites and those grays and a pretty excellent layout. And the most expensive property sold in River North this year so far was this 3-bed, 3-bath property with 3,000 square feet with views galore. Obviously recently redone as well. And I think the story on this one is, holy smokes, look at those views. So those are your 5 most expensive properties sold in River North this year so far. What do you think? The 5 most expensive properties that sold in Pilsen this year so far are this condo in a new construction building, which was listed for $749,000, eventually got $741,000, 2,500 square feet. I mean, it's a really big property, duplex up. I think it was well done. It's interesting to see condos fetching these prices in Pilsen. The 4th most expensive was this single family home, which was listed for $769,000, ended up trading for $760,000 after only a week on the market. The property looks to be well done. Again, interesting to see these kinds of properties popping up in Pilsen. The 3rd most expensive property sold in Pilsen this year so far was listed for $859,000 and got $859,000. This is new construction and it looks like someone actually got in there before it was completed and put some of their touches on it, which is always an incredible thing for a buyer to put their own stamp on a property. The 2nd most expensive property sold in Pilsen is this single family home, which was listed for $1.1 million, eventually traded for $1,050. Sitting on a 31-foot wide lot. It's a really interesting looking property on the outside, and the inside has pretty nice finishes and a nice backyard. And the most expensive property to sell in Pilsen this year was actually listed for $1.35 million, ended up selling for $1.28 million, 6 beds, 3.5 baths. I mean, it's a huge house, very similar to the last one, but with a little bit more updated finishes. Would you pay $1.3 million for a single family home in Pilsen / University Village? Here are the 5 most expensive properties that have sold in Bucktown this year so far. Coming in at number 5 is this single family home listed for $1.83 million, ended up trading for $1.725 million. Interesting property. It's actually not over the top, I would argue. You're paying for location here. The 4th most expensive was this new construction single family home. White on white on white on white, but that's what the buyers want these days. The 3rd most expensive property sold in Bucktown this year so far was listed for $1.949 million and traded for just about $20,000 off that price. Again, new construction. We have renderings here and it looks to be pretty outstanding. Hope the buyers are enjoying it. The 2nd most expensive property, and we're noticing a trend, is another new construction project. Got full ask at $2.35 million. It's saying that it was sold before print, so it looks like someone found this property off market. So this never existed on your Zillows, your Redfins, your Compasses. And the most expensive property to sell in Bucktown this year so far was listed for $3.4 million and then eventually sold for $3.1, 5 beds, 4 full baths, 2 half baths, gigantic lot. And as you click through it, you can see why it fetched this kind of wild pricing. There isn't a corner of this property that isn't remarkably well done. Those are your top 5 homes that sold in Bucktown so far this year. What do you think? The 5 most expensive properties that sold in Logan Square this year so far are, coming in at number 5, is actually a 4-unit building that was listed for $1.25 million, ended up getting $1.2. It pulls somewhere in the neighborhood of $7,500 a month. Big, nice property. The 4th most expensive was listed for $1.24 million, ended up trading for $1.227 million. Spent a lot of time on the market 168 days, 32 feet wide, really well done property. I'm a sucker for extra wide. Number 3 is also a multi-unit property. This one is 3 units. It was listed for $1.275 million, ended up trading for $1.238 million after only 8 days on the market. The second most expensive was listed for $1.49 million, ended up trading for $1.4. This is a single family home on a traditional lot, 25 by 125. It looks like this was potentially rehabbed at some point, love the facade. And the most expensive property that sold in Logan Square this year so far was listed for $1.75 and was sold for $1.75. It was listed by our friends Michael and Taylor. High design, gorgeous property. What do you think about the top 5 most expensive properties that sold in Logan Square so far this year? Let's check out the most expensive property currently listed in Lakeview. It's this single family home sitting on a 62.5 wide lot. That's actually 2 lots and a quarter, listed for right around $6 million. It has 177 days on market, but let's take a look inside. You gotta love having this really intense entrance, extra wide hardwood floors. I like mixing the natural elements with the shaker cabinetry. That Sub-Zero and Wolf appliances. You know me, I love coffered ceilings. There are a couple rooms here which are pretty unbelievable. There's this indoor-outdoor living space with these unbelievable architectural skylights. And then, I mean, you never see this. You have that indoor pool with unbelievable skylights over it, which is actually retractable, which I've never seen in Chicago. It's pretty insane. Elevator going to all levels, beds and baths galore. More space than you'll know what to do with, and essentially a movie theater down in the lower level. Wine cellar, gym, objectively unbelievable, but would you pay $6 million for it to live in Lakeview? The most expensive property currently listed in Old Irving Park is the single family home listed for $1.225 million. It's got 15 days on the market. Let's take a look inside. First thing that we always check is obviously the lot size. It's sitting on a 37.5 foot wide lot. Pretty traditional finishes. The kitchen has been recently redone. Love it or hate it, there's wallpaper in the dining room. The beds and baths are nice. I like the primary bedroom. They did something interesting with some AstroTurf. Gigantic master closet. Skylights, which we always love. An interesting lower level. They spent a little time and money putting in a wine cellar underneath the stairs. That's I think that's actually a dog washing station. So you can tell someone put some time and effort into this property, which is always appreciated. Gigantic back door, gorgeous layout. What do you think? Would you buy this property for $1.225 million in Old Irving Park? So those were some of the most expensive properties that have traded in Chicago so far in Q1 2023. Let us know what you think about them in the comments.